Welcome to the Smart Drive podcast, where driving expertise meets real talk. My name's Simon Horton. I'm an EV enthusiast and advanced driver.
I'm Ashley Neal. I'm primarily a driving instructor, but I do run a driving education channel on YouTube also.
Cool. This is our, shall we say, the pilot episode of the podcast, or our first one, if nothing else. Yep. So we're going to see how this goes. It's a start of a 10. So your week's been pretty busy. Mine's been quite relaxing. But has anything surprised you this week?
No, I've had quite an easy week. Regarding teaching, nothing's really happened. No, it's been normal Liverpool, mad roads and learner abuse, but that's just by the by now. It's just part of the course, I think.
Cool. I've had an eye-opener this week. There's something that we've talked about in the past where we know now my driving experience is quite vast, but for the last 10 years, it's been a mixture of certainly automatics and EVs, and not a lot of driving a manual car. And then on Sunday, I had to jump in the father-in-law's Honda CR-V diesel manual and drive it home, 150 odd miles.
Cool.
So
how did you go?
It was. I'm not going to blow my own trumpet. I thought, this is going to be a test. Am I going to stall it? Is there going to be all of the not remember what gears? Actually, I think I slipped into it pretty easily. There was a couple of times I thought, but I could have been in a better gear there.
Yeah.
But actually, I was quite pleased with myself.
Not too bad.
Not just being able to drive a manual, but be able to drive it and still be a reasonable standard.
Cool. Yeah. I had a training session this morning with a guy who's training to become a driving instructor. And he's a number of years back, he failed 3 attempts at part 2. And part 2 test for a driving instructor is, I would say, on a similar line to some of the advanced stuff. It's got to be at a pretty good level. And this training session I had this morning, he drives an automatic, and it's the first thing that goes on in my mind when I know people have been driving automatics and EVs. In your case, the first skill that people usually start to deteriorate in is listening. And it's interesting to hear you say, I was in the wrong gear a couple of times, because that's exactly what I was dealing with this morning with this fella I was training.
Yeah, and this being as I said, 2.2 turbo diesel. Yeah, it's quite flexible, so it's quite forgiving in that sense. But you still want to get in the right rev range. And I'll not say this too lightly, but we were driving in convoy. So Carla, my wife, was driving the Q6. There were a couple of times I was wide open throttle trying to keep up with her. So needed to be in the right gear at the right time. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and it is the first thing. People don't. I think primarily they don't get taught properly. They tend to get taught to gear down with things so they're ready to deal with a situation, as opposed to what I would be thinking would be to look at the situation and then prep the gear. And those two different ways to go about the same end result, they do cause a few different problems, to be honest. Listening is one of the 6 main skills that I'm forever going on about. And it's so common. I think people just go gears, rather than actually using their eyes and listening and looking. But I'm sure you were fine, Simon. You've got enough experience, enough about you to cope.
Yeah, I mean, it's a car that's done 118,000 miles. It's no spring chicken. It's currently sat outside. If people listening or watching this podcast, it's still for sale. If anybody wants it, it's a cracking example of a Honda CR-V. But yeah, it was really good. It was a good experience anyway to be able to jump in that and go, I'm still fairly competent at driving a manual. So
I'm sure you would. You should have a go of my Focus ST at some point. I've driven your car. I think maybe when I come over and have a little go of your new one, I think we should probably switch over and let you have a go of my Focus as well. You up for that, Simon?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll find the red line.
Not a problem. It sounds quite nice when you get up there. We shouldn't be saying that anyway, should we? Obviously on the appropriate speed limit roads. Yeah. That's the one. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you touched on my new car, the Audi Q6.
All good.
what, 1,200 miles into it now.
Oh, okay. All good.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive. There's quite a lot I like about it.
Yep.
It's very well built. It's well refined. I tell you what, mate, it's taken me an absolute age to get a dash cam installed.
Because have I caused you problem with that battery?
Well,
I'm sorry.
No, not a problem. It's actually, that's not the problem. The problem is it's so well built. There's no gaps. There's no panel gaps. In the Kia and even in the Jag before that, you could always find somewhere to just run a cable in. I'm trying to run it on the tops of windows and places like that, and I have it's not there. And so I've got the front's installed. It's all fine. The battery's installed. It's all fine. I'll come back to that in a second. But
cool.
The run for the rear camera has been a heart
difficult. I'm always wary of that as well. I've got a little problem with the cameras on my motorbike at the minute. I don't know whether I told you, but my Triumph Tiger, when I had it, it was not used for ages. I thought, it's fine, doesn't need a trickle charger. It's a new bike, and then it destroyed a battery in it. The breakdown service came out to my house and tried to jump it with a big, powerful jumper pack, and I think it fried my camera unit because the camera hasn't worked since. I've just bought another one, and I think I'm going to take it somewhere, Simon, because I am so heavy-handed when it comes to taking panels off. I know those pins or the connectors behind them, I'll just be shattering them everywhere. So yeah, mine's getting taken somewhere. I wouldn't even dream of taking your car to bits, no chance.
I know, it is a bit of a risky thing. The clip thing's an interesting one because so many cars these days, you've got to be careful because you're popping panels off and you've got plastic clips. They're all metal clips on the Audi.
They are, yeah.
So it's like, you know it's going to go back together. You've got to be quite heavy-handed with it. But
I get you. Yeah, I'm scared as anything, though, because you've got to put some pressure behind them to actually get them off. I'm thinking, this is all going to snap.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think I would nowadays. I don't think I would put a dash cam in. I could, but I think I'd rather just send it to my mates down in use a place in Liverpool and just send it to them for a couple of hours and go and pick it up later. So anyway,
I'm too belligerent. I'll still do it myself. On the battery front, so for the purpose of listeners, this is the parking support battery. So it gets charged up and then it takes the pressure off your vehicle battery so that you can run parking mode on the camera. All good, fantastic, understand how it works. The only problem I've got is that the fuse box in the Audi that's in the cabin are all permanent live.
Every one of them?
Every single fuse in the cabin fuse box is permanent live. That entire fuse box is on all. It's blown my mind.
I wouldn't have a clue on how to get around that either, to be honest.
No. I mean, the only option I've got is to use the cigarette lighter, which weirdly the fuse for that is in the boot.
Okay.
It's obviously the way they built it. They've just gone, you know what? We don't need fuses to be on different, switch live, ignition live, all the rest of it, because they're all on CAN bus now. So the system.
And it is different with the electric vehicles as well, because you don't effectively turn them off. Again, I'm not going to mention what my wife drives, so you know what she drives, but it's exactly the same. You just get out the car and it shuts down.
Actually, you know what?
Go on.
That's a bloody niggle.
Go on.
Every time you get out of the car, it turns off. You get back in the car, it turns on again. It's a very clever little thing. Tesla's started doing this as well, but it's the fact that even if you get out to go and close the garage door, it shuts everything down again. So your aircon's off, your sat nav's gone off, everything's gone off.
It takes a while to boot up again. Yeah, I get you. I know. I've not even found that with R1, whether R1's exactly the same. I don't honestly know. We're usually in the car and off. Lately with the dog as well. Tell you what, I'd just like to say again, thanks for turning up to the dog show, Simon. And I'm so sorry that I couldn't spend more time with you. I think you could say, how long were you there before I actually came over to say hello?
how many classes did you do? It was like 13. We got there on the fourth class, I think. So we were there.
Wow.
We were there a good while. But we saw this and we said hello to Callie. It was good fun.
Okay. It was. The dog, as you've explained as well with yours, it just takes over your life. But she is fun. She's putting a smile on her face. And good thing is as well, rather than sitting on my backside all the time, I'm out walking. I've lost the best part of a stone as well, Simon, which is needed, required. All good, all positive.
All good stuff, yeah. And I'm not... The other thing about the Q6, I think I said to you at the time, I'm disappointed I didn't get air suspension.
Yeah.
It was a weird thing where the launch edition cars all came with air suspension. The demonstrator cars they shipped into dealer had air suspension, and then from that point on, they dropped it from the spec. You can't get one with air suspension unless you go for the SQ6. So the ride is firm.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's okay. I mean, it's sport suspension, it's firm. So it's not the glide along that I was hoping it would be. There's a weird resonation noise. So, if a suspension engineer is tuning out particular resonant frequencies, and he's like, it's almost like they forgot to do this one. And there's just one frequency that's always coming through the cabin. And
tyres? Do you think tyres could be a little issue with it? I know you had a couple of things with your last car.
Yeah.
But
jumping on the forums, because I'm that kind of nerdy type person, jumping on the forums and it only seems to be the combination of the Q6 Quattro with sport suspension and 21-inch wheels, regardless of which tyres they put on, because they come with Bridgestones or Pirellis.
Okay.
But everybody who's complained about it has said it's that particular combination.
With you.
So I don't know what to do. Do I change the wheels and go down to 20s?
Nah.
It's a lot of money and hassle.
Turn the music up, mate. Turn the music up.
Yeah.
Start singing while you're in the car.
Oh,
it keeps you alive and alert as well, mate. But have you got into what's the range going to be like? Is it we talking 70-80% of the actual manufacturer's advised range? Do you think where you going with it? Do you think?
I don't actually know what the manufacturer claim was.
No.
I know it's still early days, but I know it's about 10 to 15% less efficient than the Kia was.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's probably to be expected.
I was going to say I'd be expected that. Yes.
It's heavier. It's a bit more slab-sided.
2.5.
Oh, it's knocking on 3
tons.
Nearly, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a big piece.
Big things.
But it's got, a 25% bigger battery?
What is it? The hundreds in them, are they? Yeah. Okay.
So, range-wise, it's better than the Kia.
I get you. But at a cost of efficiency a little bit. I get you. I understand.
But unless you're bothered about how much it costs to charge, which you can be bothered about if you're out on a public network. Yeah. What you're interested then is how quick does it charge? And it charges quick.
Wickedly fast. Yeah.
Quicker than the Kia was one of the fastest chargers on the network. This is faster.
Yeah. I saw a little bit online. Was it on the news yesterday? BYD about the megawatt charging that they did you see that as well?
Yeah.
I'm not sure they're needing that. If I was honest, what we had previously, and what we've got card wise now. And just for everyone listening and watching in, our cars do charge pretty quick. Never really had a problem. Whacked it on an Ionity, and we've gone from, I think the best I did, and I was surprised that it was one of the first early journeys we got from 9% up to 80, and it was about 12 minutes, mate. To be honest, it was superb.
When people are asking me about it these days, I'm saying, well, I'm a gentleman of a certain age. Well, we've both cracked the half century now, but a gentleman of a certain age. So basically, I can drive as long as my bladder will allow me to. And I can stop for as long as it takes me to go into the services and come back out again.
Yeah.
And then I'm on to the next journey. So we talk about dwell. The dwell time is me. not the car.
Yes, I agree. I think there was something on this piece that I watched about dwell time as well, and they said that dwell time is about 15 minutes for even filling up a petrol car. Once you go into the services, once you go for a loo break, once you go buy another coffee that makes you even worse later down the line.
And you can't do that while you're filling a diesel car up.
No. So there are savings. It's never been an issue for me, and obviously going back to carrying our dog again, the electric charge, I'm suspecting, never done it because we've only had our dog a couple of months now. We've not done a long trip with her, but I'm suspecting you need those charging sort of like breaks to then go off and take the dog, give it a drink, give it some food, let it go to the toilet. Does that help in that purpose as well, Simon?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've talked about this in the past. We do a annual trip to France to a friend down in.
Do you take Athos as well? Do you?
Yeah. I mean, this will be his first time when we go out this time. But
okay, yeah.
Well, doing the route planning with a better route planner, which is my chosen app for going out and doing things, I've had to go in and say no one stint longer than 3 hours.
Perfect.
Because that's how long I would expect him to go, and
yes.
it could go longer, but
why
do I want to make him do that? Because
agreed.
Yeah, on some of those longer stints, if you're going to do 190, 200 miles, then it's going to be 3 plus 3.5 hours. So
yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. We're looking forward to it. To be honest, to seeing how our electric car fits in with our new doggy lifestyle. To be honest, I think it just suits. We've really got used to it. People, have said to me, "Oh, electric charging." I just shake my head and go, "Oh, whatever." Unless you try it and give it a go, I don't think you really put in a position where you can pass judgment on it, to be honest. But it suits me, Liz. It suits how I drive. I like to have a break. I like to have a chill out, and you arrive at your destination so much better as well.
I think yet to be proven, but I think Athos actually knows the difference between arriving at a destination and arriving at a charger.
Okay, that's quite good.
Yeah, because if you pull into a car park in like a forest or somewhere like that, he's up and he's like, I want to get out. Last couple of times I've stopped like at motorway services and backed up to a charger, he sort of looked out the back window and gone, nah. Oh. I'll just lie back down again.
Funny.
He's funny like that. So I say that's yet to be proven, but that's my theory anyway.
Interesting. Like I said, we owe you a trip over to yours as well, so we'll come and see you very soon as well, mate.
No, look forward to it. So we talked about my new car. How are you getting on with the 1,500 quid?
Oh, very good. I thought about this before when you mentioned your diesel CRV. Yes, I've come to a decision on what vehicle I want.
No spoilers allowed. No spoilers allowed.
No spoilers allowed. But it was sort of on the last upload that I said regarding the insurance costs of an old, maybe 08, 09 Reg Fiesta, which would cost an 18-year-old £4,000. And did you see that upload as well?
Yeah.
Where I put the comparison between the Corsa E, and it was £2,200. So you're saving yourself at least the value of a £1,500 car that you're trying to buy in the first place. It's ridiculous, to be honest, but I'm still going to go through with it. I'm still going to purchase one. I came to the conclusion that something a little unusual, like an estate car.
So was it a Focus Estate you were looking at?
Focus Estate, yeah. I'm going to go for something similar. Not going to say exactly what, but I have made a decision. I'm just keeping an eye out for the correct one. There's actually a car not a million miles away from you. Colne. How far away is Colne up in Burnley? How far is that away from you?
Yeah, it's
50 minutes?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. I could combine that and come and say hello. Maybe even next week at some point on my week off. I've just got to bite the bullet, Simon, because there was a couple that I was looking at that went really quickly. So even at that price point, I think you've got to be quite positive with it and go, yeah, that one, check it out on Car Vertical using the link. Ashley, sorry. I'm not going down there. But yeah, get it all checked out. The problem is, do I waste a little bit of time and get it checked by a mechanic before a purchase, or do we just dive straight in? That will be something that I think I will save for the following video.
Interesting. Yeah. I know where I'd go, but that's probably my both feet.
What would you go for, Simon? That sort of price point.
And that's yeah. I mean, the Focus Estate thing was really interesting because estates generally are less appealing to the generation that you're talking about.
Yes,
but they're bloody useful. I mean, I razzed around in an escort van when I started off in the valeting business, and it's amazing how many friends you make. And you can almost make your petrol and diesel money back just by helping people out move house and things like that. And that's true. So that kind of thing for the type of market you're looking at, I'd recommend going down the estate route or something like that because you get a lot of car for your money.
You do, yeah. I just can't fathom why everyone just gets sort of like hoodwinked into that stereotypical. Got to buy a Fiesta, got to buy a Corsa. Yes, they're good cars. I haven't had a Corsa myself, but I've had a Fiesta myself. But I don't know why everyone gets hoodwinked. Maybe it's by the parents saying, you've got to get something like that because it's cheap to run. It's not what I've found out, to be honest. Found insuring a 1.8 litre Volvo was a lot cheaper than insuring a 1.25 Fiesta.
Yeah. I mean, there's no street creds with a 1.8 litre Volvo. But
I don't care. I know what I'd rather have a crash in. I'm not saying I'm going to crash, but you know where I'm coming from. Yeah. I think if one of my kids was driving a car, I think I'd feel a little bit more comfortable with them in a Volvo as opposed to a Fiesta. But anyway, each to their own. But it is something that I've got to get on with quite quick as well. But yeah, that's on its way. It's been a tough series to do as well, Simon, to be honest, because there's so much work, if you like, looking at data and taking time, getting insurance quotes for 10 cars. And it's taken a lot of time for not a big reach, but I think you know where I've always come from. I don't care. I'm not just chasing numbers. I'd like to put stuff out there that people can use and that's useful for them.
I think that kind of series as well has got longevity to it because, it might not get a huge reach in the first instance, but you'll get a lot of people coming back to it and back to it and back to it. So it's completely different, but one of my regular YouTube clips that keeps coming back is how to charge a Jaguar I-Pace on different, there's now a third generation of Jaguar I-Pace users who are struggling with the same issues that I had because they've not changed it.
You're right. I tell you what, I saw one of my old videos when I took my lorry test 3 years ago, probably now. And I looked at the stats for one of those videos. It's done virtually 100,000 views, and it's just me taking a lorry test. But it's the same sort of thing. It wasn't a massive hitter at the time, but there's a lot of people who still watch it. So yeah, you're right. And like I said, I'm never going to just go and chase views all the time. I could do. Got so many clips, that I could just go for the dramatic stuff all the time, but there's a little bit more to it if I'm really trying to educate people. Well, I told you about my SSD sort of malfunction, didn't I? Or did I? Did I talk to you about that?
No, I don't think you did.
I had NVMe drive with all of my clips on. I used that as opposed to having all the clips on the computer, just because it's a little bit, it doesn't clog as much when I'm using Final Cut and doing my stuff. And silly me thought NVMe drive, it's going to be pretty reliable. It's not going to have a problem. I'm not going to back that up. I'm all right. And it failed dramatically. Luckily enough, one of my sons, he's a bit of a computer whiz. He's doing a PhD in artificial intelligence. So he was able to get all my clips back, but they are not in, and they haven't got the same file names, and they were in no particular order. So I'm currently a quarter of the way going through 3,500 clips to reorganize them. That's fun. Not. Anyway, that's what I'm spending my time doing. That's why I haven't had the time to shave or anything, mate. It's just...
I'm laughing externally and crying internally because, the whole I don't need to back that up because that'll be robust. Yeah, you've learned that lesson, haven't you? Yeah.
Not wrong. Yes, straight away. Buy some more storage. It's already backed up. All of those files have just been zipped, backed up, and at least, well, they're not organised still, but at least I'm not going to lose them again. So yeah, I made that mistake. Never again.
I know, but it's the sense of relief you get when you can do a degree of recovery on a corrupt disk like that and get everything back, and then the realisation that file names move an awful lot.
Because they're often an awful lot. Yes, big time. Yeah, well, it's probably going to do me a favour in some ways because there were so many drive and fail clips that I've got that I've been able to make new folders. For example, I've got a lorry folder, which is all going to be lorry-based clips, and then there's going to be a crossing traffic episode as well, where it's just about people, how badly that they cross traffic. And I know I've done an emerging one recently, but it's going to enable me just to push different aspects of the driving within the drive and fail series altogether. So it might help in a way. It's a little bit of work at the minute, but it'll be okay. At least I got them back anyway, because my viewers and the clips that they send me is my livelihood on YouTube. It's, you know what it's like as well. You've sent me some brilliant clips, and without people sending me the stuff, I think people will get fed up with just watching me drive around for a while, mate. I think it'll quite soon get people bored and switching off their subscriptions and bits and bobs.
At least now I've got the Q6, and when I get the rear camera working, I won't be sending you front clips which are in perfect vision and rear clips that are pointing at the sky because the dog's banged his head on the camera again.
Yeah, absolutely. But all good. Anything else happening? I don't think so, mate. No. I've got nothing really. Apart from that, you reminded me about the new car series, but nothing else. I'm inundated at the minute, Simon. If I was honest, I'm inundated with driving instructors wishing to do the course. I got a little piece of information from one of the senior examiners the other day that 1,200 people a month are applying to become driving instructors. That's quite a lot, that, to be fair, considering it's hovered around the 40,000 mark for many, many years. I think there's a massive influx. Yeah, it needs it because there's massive waiting lists, but driving examiners are walking out of the job left, right and centre as well. So the situation regarding driving tests, just going on a different little tangent, is not going to get better anytime soon.
Is that an age and population thing in terms of the driving examiners? Are they retiring out of the job?
No. I've got a couple who have been in touch with me who are thinking, well, hang on a minute. Driving instructors are getting paid £40 an hour, but I'm getting paid, I don't know what the base rate for an examiner is, maybe £28,000 a year. They could double that easily being a driving instructor, and it's a similar skill set. Some have gone from being instructors into the examiner for that security and pension. Now they're walking the other way and going, you know what? Bye, off we go. So the DBSA are having a tough time recruiting and keeping examiners at the minute.
Are they civil servant employees?
I think they are, yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So there is the benefits, I think you know a lot about the civil service with what you do and how you go in that. The pension systems and bits and bobs are pretty good, but it's, I think people are after just a little bit better wage than the DBSA can actually offer the examiners. But anyway.
Well, we face the opposite challenge because I'm contracting into the civil service. So I work for a private entity and I'm contracting into a civil service job at the minute. So the public sector is paying better rates than they need to get somebody like me. Whereas if they could get somebody in a permanent position, then it would be a cheaper alternative. And so I sit on the fence then and going, well, on one side I'm being paid to do the job, and on the other side, the public sector, who is paid out of my taxes, paying nobody else. So
that's right. It is, and it's a difficult one. I get it.
Yeah, but we can't recruit into permanent jobs because of the pay structure within the civil servant. So in order to get somebody like me in a civil servant job, they're looking at it going, why would I do that?
But they'll then pay over the odds for you anyway. I know. Anyway,
it's a weird one.
Yeah. But the DBSA, I don't know. There's a few things that are going on. If I was honest, I think I've got a little insight from a couple of people that even with these examiners who used to be instructors, gone over to be examiners, the DBSA are now making it harder for them to leave as well. There's all kinds of stuff going on. I think the DBSA are within the whole structure of it. I think there's quite a bit going on with the DBSA. I know they're under a lot of pressure at the minute with the driving tests, and it's been a few years since COVID, and these driving test waiting times haven't reduced. They've actually got a little bit worse, in my opinion. Since COVID, I think, honestly, that they're feeling the pressure now of not being able to fix the problem like they would have hoped. And it's no better now than it was 5 years ago.
At least in paper, at least, they haven't reduced the standard, because it would be easier to reduce the standard a little bit, get more people passing the exam and less retests. That would be one approach. I stayed with this approach, but at least they've not tried to do that in any way, shape, or form.
No, and I think I've mentioned it a few times in a few videos as well. With me, correcting other instructors, I think where I'm coming from with it as well. I see the bigger picture and think, well, if instructors were better, that would also help reduce the waiting times, because we're getting a higher percentage of people through. But like I said, I don't think the level of instructors is anywhere near good enough either. It disappoints me massively, but can't fix the world. I'm trying though. I'm trying to help.
One video at a time, we fix the world.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
On a tangent there, one of the things that I was thinking about, particularly as I was driving that Honda back the other week, is which of the driving assistance technologies am I missing / not missing in this car? Because it's it's 2010, so it's 15 years old. So it's got ABS.
Okay. Fair play. That's probably the most important one for me. That's
probably about it.
I agree. I'm sure there's no anti-stall measures, auto blipping of the throttle and stuff like that. But you're skilled enough, and like we've both said, we're both beyond the half century. So we were taught in vehicles where you had to learn how to drive properly. What other systems? Cruise control? Would you miss that?
I would miss that. And it's interesting because you've had that video this week about cruise versus limiter.
Yeah.
So this household are in both camps.
Good.
So I am a cruise control and have been for. I think the VW Bora was the first one I used it properly in, which is 2000. So 20 odd years of regular cruise control and all the evolutions thereof up to the very latest radar stuff and things like that.
Here's one thing, sorry to interrupt there for a second, just while it's on my mind. I had a comment on that video. I don't know, I haven't heard of it or seen it, but someone said to me that, was it one of the VW systems with active cruise then susses out my issue with it, with vehicles being next to each other, and it slightly adjusts. Have you seen that? Because I haven't, Simon.
The Q6 does it. So, actually, you've shortcutted the conversation to start. One of the things I've really liked about the Q6.
Yep.
And if I could probably pull the video footage off where I go, "Oh, Ashley would be pleased about that." It was one of those. There was a middle lane hogger, for want of and I was in the lane one, and it started slowing down and drawing on the little dashboard, drawing a green line in the vehicle in lane 2, and it wouldn't undertake it. It then speed matched to the vehicle in lane 2.
Brilliant.
And better than that, when I then signalled, it then gap matched, because you're already at the gap. So it wasn't just speed matching, it had already got the gap. And then when I signal again to go into lane 3, it starts to do the acceleration into lane 3, rather than what the Kia used to really annoy me with, was it wouldn't accelerate until it was, I'm in lane 3, now I'll accelerate.
And then go. That's interesting. So that would be lovely to come and have a go in your car? Because I know you've heard me go on about adaptive cruise, and that's my bugbear, that always sits you next to a blasted lorry right in that place where you can't be seen. But that is really good if manufacturers, I know they haven't listened to me, but at least they're thinking logically behind it and understanding the risks and making these systems help drivers.
Yeah, it's
really
even
good.
gone as far as, so even if it was doing that scenario where it's gapped to somebody in your next lane, and then you get somebody come up behind them, it will then drop back again to be alongside the person who's now behind that one. Does that make sense?
Good, yeah.
Describe that. But I was really impressed with that. I mean, ultimately in busy traffic, what you end up doing is going backwards. But you can always turn it off.
You can, press cancel and get on with it for a little second, absolutely. What's the performance like in the new one, Simon? Has it got because your Kia was quite shifty, to be honest. Has it got at least as much? Would you say
it's similar? I think on paper it's very similar. Like we said, it's a bit heavier. But I'm running it in. Of course, I've not even tried that yet.
Yeah, Liz's new one's ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. But you just don't need that type of power in a car. I think the sweet spot is where you're at with the performance of the Audi and where the Kia was. Anything more than that's an utter waste. But
it's if you can pick a gap and get into it, that's ultimately what it is. It was quite interesting following Carla back last week.
Okay.
She's now driven the Audi way more than she ever drove the Kia, because we drove up to the Lake District to go to the father-in-law's, and then she obviously drove it back while I was following her. And I'm not saying she's a lover of it. It's big compared to her car.
Yes.
But because it's got a speed limiter, coming back to that point, she's quite happy tootling along and doing that. But watching it pull off a roundabout and go off from 30 to 60, and I'm going, I can't keep up with that.
No, you're right. Just you mentioned limiter. Don't know whether I'm reading your mind here as well. I had a little issue with Liz's new car with the active limiter.
Oh God, useless.
Useless in Liz's car as well. And that's the only thing that I've gone, I don't like that. And a couple of times it's jumped on the brakes after seeing, there was one the other day, a countdown marker to a 30 limit from a 40, not far away from me. Bridge goes over the M57, it comes back down to a 30 limit into the back end of Aintree. And it just saw the first countdown 30 sign and just stomped on the brakes, and there was a car quite close. And I couldn't get to the cancel as quick as I would like. I know exactly where it is, and it did cancel it, but it wasn't. I said to that, I wound the window down and put my hand up to the fellow and listen, sorry. And I don't know whether he thought I was brake checking him or not, but it was lethal, to be honest, mate.
And it's not, the limiter's not at fault. What's at fault is the speed limit sign recognition. And this isn't a new thing. The Kia was terrible at it. Managed motorways, not a chance. But it was always just a display within the Kia. You could turn off the audible warnings and things like that.
Yeah.
Now, because we're in 2025, speed limit warnings are on by default.
You've got to disable them, Did I tell you what I did with my Golf? I coded it so it went and it stuck to the last setting used. That was useful because my Golf was the same. Going back to my Golf and the speed limiter and speed recognition, I don't know how they could even think that this was the case, Volkswagen, but it used to come onto the motorway again, the M57, and it said I could do 110. Never did, but it said I could.
I've got a nice little... how do I put this? Anomaly that reminds me to turn the speed limit warning off on the Audi. You pull out of hours onto that narrow lane.
Yes.
That's a 60.
Yeah.
It thinks that's a 30.
Okay.
So as soon as I get to 45, it's going bing, bing, bing. Oh, yeah, turn that. So within 30 seconds of leaving the house, it's reminding me that it's useless and I can turn it off. The other thing is it's like dual carriageways. It thinks they're all 60s.
Okay. Excuse our Callie barking in the background. We can hear our Callie. She's having a bark at something, so I don't know whether people can pick up, but
I can't.
Couldn't hear her. No, she's all right.
I know for a fact Athos will be asleep because we've been out for a long walk this afternoon, and he'll be zonked somewhere.
Good effort. No, she's been okay though, but I just didn't want people to go, "What's that in the background?" She sounds like she's gonna have a big, powerful bark on her. But anyway, some of the new technologies are helpful. I've been driving Liz's car a lot with the limiter on. Mostly, I would say it recognises speed limits really well. I think the other one that it did the same thing on was a 20 sign in a side road that's obviously been clipped by a lorry and was just twisted round. And it just recognised it and again jumped straight on the brakes. And it's the problem is with those systems, you've got no idea when they're going to do a really good job, and you don't know when they're going to suddenly have one and jump on the brakes with a problem at the back of you.
Yeah. So long story short, Carla drove the car for the first time when we were going up to Cumbria with me in the passenger seat, using the limiter in auto mode, and she was like, why does it keep doing this? And those sorts of scenarios. Why does it keep binging at me saying I can't do 70 in a 70 zone and things like that? So I'm out with the manual. I'm doing this as though it's a book. It's not. It's online. I was scrolling through. And I've turned off auto limiter on mine now. It's no manual limiter. It's behaving like a manual limiter.
Okay.
So it's probably worth seeing if Liz's car is the same. But so obviously driving back, then she's on her own and no problems at all because it's just behaving. You set it to that,
and then it'll stay with that.
And it'll stay with that because your eyeballs are perfectly capable of reading the right road signs.
Yes, but if we go down that route, your right foot's also perfectly capable of keeping it at the speed limit as well.
Yeah.
So I know.
Yeah.
But if there's, I think I said that, and that's the conclusion that I came to in a video that I had out about speed limiter compared to limiter. Cruise control compared to speed limiter. That's generally my go-to. But I've had little plays with them both. I don't do that longer stuff. I think you realise I just trundle around the city, and if we do go out on the motorways, it's generally someone who I'm training who's doing the driving. So I force the issue with them and make them use it, because I think I started that video by saying the DBSA are having a little push with this. Actually, I can't remember what they said in the video. I think one of my training instructors came over and did a test in Huddersfield, and they were criticised for not using it enough. I'm not sure about that. I don't think you should force people to use it. I think people should, again, choose themselves. Do you think there is an eco side to cruise control, like maybe the DBSA suggests, or do you think it's? I'm not sure nowadays. If I was honest, I'm not quite sure.
Again, no evidence to support this, but I was convinced when I was in the Jag I-Pace that it was less efficient to use cruise because of the way it would react to traffic situations. So that, if you slowed down behind somebody in lane 2 or 3 down to 50 miles an hour and they move out of the way, it would accelerate quite hard.
Which uses more electrons, yeah.
Certainly, I'm not saying it would more than I would, but I would have probably applied a smoother, gentler throttle. And
maybe not even got into that situation, and maybe changed lanes and kept the flow going.
Yeah,
me too.
So I think there is an argument that says it's probably less efficient in an EV for that reason.
Yes,
but you're on small margins.
Yeah,
whereas it used to be, when I go back to that VW Bora, it used to be way more efficient when you were driving it in cruise because it would make much smaller throttle adjustments.
Yeah,
in a combustion engine that help you with the efficiency.
I always wanted one of those Boras when I was a younger lad as well. I always fancied one of them. I like them as well. I did loved. I love the Volkswagen Group, to be honest. I really do. It's just a shame they've put me off with my last Golf. But anyway, I wonder what's happened to that now. I wonder who's bought that. I wonder whether they're still having the same problems.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
What to fix those issues. My Bora, I did 136,000 in it. And it did everything. It did house moves. It did, as even as a saloon. It used to tow my trailer with my Westfield sports car on it. I did Continental Autobahn flat out.
Yeah.
It went through turbos like you wouldn't believe.
Did it?
Actually, that's an interesting point. It went through turbos because of cruise control.
Not computing that. I'm not computing that. Go on, explain.
Right, without getting too technical.
Yeah.
Because it would maintain speeds, and you tended to always be setting it at 70 and leaving it at 70, and it would make small adjustments on the throttle. The vanes, because it was a variable vane turbo, the vanes in the turbo weren't moving that much for a lot of the journey.
Constant.
And it would build up a ridge of carbon inside the turbo, which eventually would break down the vanes in the turbo.
Okay.
And it turns out the first fix, when it started to go wrong, was to hit it with a hammer. This is the official fix that VW recommended. Yeah. They recommended a bar and a hammer, and it would knock some of the carbon off, and then it would free back up.
I'd be good at that. Yeah? Send Ashley to sort that out. Yeah, go
on. And then the next fix was a flush through the system just to get through all the carbons. But if it did it again, then it was a new turbo. I think I had 3 turbos in the 130,000 miles.
I've only ever had one turbo go, and it was on 1 Series BMW, and it spewed all the turbo blades into the engine. It had a whole new engine as well. It absolutely ruined it. But, that was a nightmare, that car as well. They fixed it under warranty, and then it was never the same. Had all kinds of electrical problems and everything after. But turbos, it's interesting how cars have gone down the turbocharged route as well. Even smaller, more efficient stuff, even with the 1 litre EcoBoost engines and bits and bobs in the Fiestas we just talked about. A lot of manufacturers have obviously gone down that route.
Is yours twin turbo?
No, don't think so. I'm not super technical with stuff like that. I don't think so, no. I think they're just a single turbo. I couldn't even tell you what type it was. No idea.
It's one that goes whiz.
Yeah, and it makes quite a nice sound as well, to be fair.
Cool.
The car's been all right. The Focus, it's due for another service. Probably I've done 15,500 miles, and that's probably expected. I think the service schedule is about 10,000 on it. So if I'm probably going to do another 1,500 miles, if I get the 2 services, 16,500 with the small short stuff that I do, it's probably about right. It's probably what I would have expected. But the car has been, touch wood, bulletproof. It's been very good. The only thing that I've had a couple of times, and it's a turn off, turn on again, usually fixes it, is the headlamp leveling system doesn't go up to its proper level. On occasions, it stays down looking at the floor, and I don't know what causes that. Not got to the bottom of it. A few people in the forums, like you said, I had a little look at the forums, said it's maybe even to do with the clutch not being properly depressed. I couldn't even think on how that would make that happen. No, couldn't work it out, Simon. But it's only happened probably about half a dozen times. Apart from that, it's been pretty good.
Cool. Well, I think for future topics and things to talk about in this podcast, we can certainly go through our faults and failures that we've had in previous cars. I've got some epic failures, particularly turbo failures. There's some good stories to have in there, so we can think about that for a future topic.
Yeah, and I'll leave people a little teaser as well. Maybe next time I'll tell people how I broke a handbrake cable doing handbrake turns in the snow when I was a young lad. Yeah, it's a good story. I should look forward to that one. Just for our viewers and listeners, if you do want us to talk about anything, we're a pair of gentlemen with lots of experience, but if there is anything that you do want us to talk about, then please leave a comment. Let us know what you think about this podcast series. I think we would thrive on feedback.
and take it from there. But yes, if there's anything that you do want us to talk about, then let us know.
Yeah, I would like just to add as well, just to let everyone know, Simon's probably got a few bullet points, but purposefully, I think we should always do this as well, Simon, just talk. It's never going to be scripted. It's just what we think and thinking out loud. I think we should always do that. What do you reckon?
I think it's absolutely spot on. It's what we do. It's who we are, and we should bring that into this at all times.
Absolutely.
I'm going to finish off, if you don't mind, unless there's anything else that you wanted to talk about. I'm going to finish off with a random fact, and I'll bring that into each one of these podcasts. So, poster cars. Did you fantasize over the Lamborghini Countach when you were a kid?
Yes, but it did have another vehicle which was slightly above that for me. Can you guess what it was? I think I might have mentioned this on the channel a couple of times.
Well, for me, it was the XJ220.
Yes, that wasn't my poster car. I really love that one. But mine was the Ferrari 288 GTO.
Nice. Yeah, okay.
Absolutely my dream car. Never going to afford one, but anyway, that's what a dream car is all about.
Anyway, coming back to the Countach. So the probably iconic rear wing, the massive rear wing on the back of the Countach, was never homologated. Anybody that ordered a car with the rear wing, which was probably most people, the car was completed in the factory, rolled out of the factory into a car park next door where a bloke with a drill fitted the wing. It was always an aftermarket accessory in the eyes of the homologation people. That's my fact for today.
That's superb. What more can I say, Simon? It surprises me, but it sort of doesn't with Lamborghinis of that age. Fabulous. Love it.
Okay, let's wrap things up there. We'll do another one of these at some point soon-ish. No promises on when. Our diaries are conflicted and clashing all the time, but I think we can certainly do another one of these. And I said, let's get some feedback, see what people think.
Absolutely. Take care, everyone.
All right, you too.
See you soon.
Ciao.